A younger Benjamin Netanyahu chimes in on what's going on in the world. Let's take a look. I'm Tal, the traveling clat. Your favorite Zionist prince.
George Priest asked me to explain why we don't have peace. You have until tomorrow?
Also, take a moment to subscribe to this channel right now. We could use all the help we can. We want to get to 500,000 subs.
Here's my short answer. I have two rules when I'm in a press conference, when I have journalists. I put a board on, and they ask me the questions. I write all the questions. I write all the questions. And then I go through each one, and here's my answer to that, here's my answer to that, here's my answer to that. And this one, I'm fudging. I don't want to fudge. I actually tell them that I fudge. I don't want to fudge. I want to tell you what the answer is.
Fudge.
The reason,
Damn, baby.
first of all, the conflict that we have in the Middle East is multiple. It used to be said that the core of the conflict in the singular in the Middle East is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Well, that went by the window. When you see Iraq collapsing, Syria collapsing, Yemen collapsing, Libya collapsing, and everything else in turmoil, nothing to do with us. The core of the conflicts in the Middle East is the battle between modernity and early primitive medievalism. That's the core of the conflicts. The core of the specific conflict between Israel and the Palestinians is the persistent Palestinian refusal to recognize a Jewish state in any boundary. This is why this conflict persisted for 50 years before there was a state, before there were territories, before there were settlements. If that were the core of the conflict, the settlements, why did it take place when my grandfather landed in Jaffa in 1920? Jews were murdered then for what? There was no West Bank. There were no settlements. Now that continued in 1921, 1929, 1936, 1939, 1948. What was that all about? 1967. For nearly half a century, we were being attacked because there was a persistent refusal to accept us in any boundary. Well, we got into these territories as a result of the conflict. And what Arab propaganda has done by endless repetition is to turn the result of the conflict into its cause. Now, how do you know that that's the case? Because we left Gaza completely, every last centimeter. And they're still firing rockets at us from Gaza. And when you ask them, why are you doing this? Is it to liberate the West Bank? And they say, yeah, sure, that too, but no, it's to liberate Palestine. You know, Akko, Haifa, Jaffa. They always get back to Jaffa. So now I turn to the other guys, to the Palestinian Authority, not to Hamas. At least they don't practice violence, which is important. And I say, well, what about you? Are you willing to recognize the Jewish state? Are you willing to recognize the fact you'll have a nation state for the Palestinian people? How about a nation state for the Jewish people? I mean, after all, we've only been there almost 4,000 years. And we recognize there are two peoples there. We're willing to make the deal. Are you willing to make the deal? Are you willing to recognize the Jewish state? Because there's no point in making another Palestinian state, another Arab state that will continue the battle from improved lines against the Jewish state. Are you willing to end the conflict? Give up the claim of the so-called right of return. Make peace. And you know what happens when you ask them that? They move. And they say, oh, we're willing to recognize Israel. I didn't ask Israel. I said, are you willing to terminate all claims to the Jewish state? You won't get Jaffa. You won't flood us with refugees. Are you willing to do that? And the answer is they're not. We will have peace when the Palestinians will accord us what they ask us to accord them. We're willing to let them have a state of their own. They have to reconcile themselves to the fact that we have a state of our own, and it's here to stay. That is the core of the problem. In the Middle East, modernity against medievalism,
Not true.
Israel and the Palestinians, the persistent refusal to recognize a Jewish state in any boundary. I hope that changes, but I have my mind on making sure that until it changes, that yes, we work up the economies to create at least an economic vested hope in the future. If the Palestinians follow the prescriptions I've given here for market development, they'll be better off economically and we'll move 2 steps closer to peace too. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, I think this is Bibi sort of posturing up to American liberal Jews. I'm not sure where this conference took place, but that's kind of what it seems like. His beats and tone has definitely changed since the October 7th war. I hope that he does now, and I myself vehemently oppose the creation of a Palestinian state. There is no moral or ethical justification to creating a 50-plus something Muslim supremacist state and a 20-something Arab ethno-state, which you know will serve the purposes of Arabism, Pan-Arabism, and Islamism alone and only. Nobody else will have equal rights there. Nobody will feel safe to live under there. The same way that nobody has equal rights of any other ethnic minority or ethnic or religious minority anywhere else in this region under Islam or Arabism. Nowhere. Besides the Gulf states who are improving that slowly. They're doing a good job, but they're improving it slowly. But you know that Palestinians are not going to do that. They've never done it. They don't have a track record of doing it. So I don't want to latch on because most of the things that Bibi said were correct in that speech. I don't want to latch on to this one thing, but I have to always mention I vehemently oppose the idea of a Palestinian state. There is no justification to it. We can all live together here in one unified Israel. Palestinians are welcome to live here. This is the reason why he even says in his speech, we recognize that there's another group of people here. We want to live alongside them. We do live alongside them today, and it's something we take great pride and honor in. There's no justification to creating another Arab state. There isn't. You can't find me one moral justification. Find me one moral, ethical justification. I'll read the comments of this video. Leave it in the comments down below. Don't just call me a racist. Don't just call me a fascist, because I know this triggers people. Leave me one moral or ethical argument in the comments down below as to why we deserve to bring in another Arab ethno-state, another Muslim supremacist state into the world. Meanwhile, leaving the Assyrians, the Kurds, the Copts, the Mandeans, the Amazigh to fuck off. Like, fuck all. They don't get anything. They can just go fuck themselves as ethnic minorities. We'll leave them be, but we'll prioritize creating another Arab ethno-state, another Islamic supremacist state. Go find me the moral justification to it. I'll be waiting. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you a long time, class.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.